Denial is the most predictable of all human responses. But rest assured, this will be the 6th time we have destroyed it, and we have become exceedingly efficient at it.
Hey guys, so I wanted to make a very quick video to kind of demonstrate what devices are doing. You have to look at these devices today as multi-antenna devices, essentially. Some cell phones these days have anywhere between 4 to 5, and I also hear up to 7 antennas, as well as, your Wi-Fi routers. So with each antenna, you have to understand that you have a give and a take. So it's sending something and it's trying to receive something. These back and forth reciprocal saw type motions. Now I use the reciprocal saw for a reason, because it's literally trying to cut you in half. But anyway, so I'm going to start off with showing you the type of energy that is creeping and lurking about your house with the Wi-Fi route. And especially these new Wi-Fi routers today, I think that it's getting up to Wi-Fi 6, 7, and 8 in some people's homes today. And I think with Wi-Fi 6, they started putting mesh network systems in place where you can come in and you can drop little wireless cubes all over your house and use it as a internet portal. So the mesh would be one network. Then you would have your 2.4, 2.5, your 2 gigahertz wavelength, right? Then you'll have your 5 gigahertz radio signal, transmission and broadcast. So now you have 3 modulated broadcasts in your home, and each broadcast has this give and take relationship. It's literally like a saw in your house. You have to look at it as like a saw. That's how I do anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this video right here to give you an idea of what's going on wherever your Wi-Fi router is, if you currently use wireless at this point. All right, so now look at all these focused beamed energy coming off of it. Almost looks like an octopus on its back, tentacles, if you will. These tentacles are just going off through your house, lurking, seeking, finding. Now you have a ton of company over, and they all have cell phones. This is how we have to see it. Sometimes people are more visual and they see these things and they understand why when they have company, they're wiped out. And what I'm trying to show you is why so many of us are wiped out every single day. We actually carry the device around that wipes us out. So what I'm about to show you now is actually fairly important. So I have 2 stories behind vehicles. One of my last communication symposium I went to, actually the symposium was at Virginia Tech that particular year. And so during lunchtime, I went with a group of folks from a big communications company. What I noticed was when we got in the vehicle, they all insisted that we put our cell phones in their blackout box and turn them off. And the guys that were with me didn't question it. They're like, okay, whatever, just drop it in this little blackout box, turn it off, no big deal. But I pull one on the side and I'm like, why'd you make us do this? And they're like, well, it's their health insurance, right? They're not allowed to use these devices inside of a motor vehicle because of the amount of harm and damage you can do to them. Run this little video, this little illustration, and I'm going to tell you a story that actually took place in my family. So what this is kind of trying to demonstrate would be just one cell phone in a vehicle. And as you see, all of this is in here. And this is a metal frame, right? There's no escape. Just imagine you sitting in a lead box and you're just ricocheting all over the place, because that's kind of what it is. So all this energy is rebounding back at you nonstop. Why? Because you're an antenna. You're probably one of the most conductive antennas in that vehicle is you. Now imagine most families, everybody has a device. You're looking at however many seats there are. That's how many devices are in there. When do most people get sick these days? Traveling. Another brother of mine, who he and his family took a trip down to Florida for a wedding. Then when they came back, they were all wicked sick, right? But this right here, along with the energies that come from the outside. So you got energies coming through here from the towers, hitting you, getting inside through the glass, and then bouncing around back and forth, right? I know this might seem so silly to you, but this is what's going on. This is why so many people get sick when they travel, because they're taking a biological beating. And then when your cells take this beating, right, your cells are producing byproducts. Then when all your cells are producing byproducts, what happens? You get sick, right? Because they're not working effectively and they're not efficient. And just like anything with a vehicle, if you're no longer efficient, the car don't run right. You have knocking, tapping, and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of how we work too. All right, so the story for us is that we moved back in May. So our daughter goes to ballet, and the studio from where we used to live was only about 20 minutes away. Where we moved, it's a little over 45 minutes to an hour to get there now. So shortly after we moved, she started coughing, and then it just became chronic. She was cough all day long, all night long. Wasn't getting a whole lot of sleep. And I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but I just didn't. I was like, is your phone on at all? And then yeah, it was. So she was always scared that if she didn't have her phone on because of our chronically ill son, she was scared that something was going to happen and she didn't know nothing about it, right? But because of that, our daughter was suffering, right? We didn't know it until we tested it. So I'm like, turn your phone off when you get in the car. And it was only a couple of days of not using that phone in that car. And she had this cough from 3 or 4 days after being here all the way to the end of August. And all she did, she's turned her phone off. In the same amount of time it took her to get a chronic cough was a couple of days. That's how fast they reversed it. And that's something. That's the world we live in. That's all I have. Guys, take care.
For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows it all, just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think.